Can you tell us how you see the future of AI in China's relations with the West panning out, and maybe specifically on the US? One reason I worry about the issue, there are many reasons, but when you take liberal ideology seriously, which I do as a political psychologist, you come to realize that liberals fear anything that threatens individual liberty. So that can be the Terminator. Just look at dystopian movies from Hollywood. You know, it's not just the big evil state, the boogeyman of libertarianism, but it's even the machine that is terrifying to liberals. So ideology, I think, in the West and especially in the US, securitizes issues like AI, while there are very serious issues actually surrounding AI. And as you point out, these issues have become an element in ideological competition. And so they are going to be serious issues, but how do we address those issues? How do we discuss them without falling prey to this kind of securitization that comes from our pre-existing ideologies? Meanwhile, of course, on the Chinese side, there's an anti-imperialist nationalism that will be securitizing the ways that Chinese think about issues like AI vis-a-vis the West. Oh, they want to use AI to, you know, to keep humiliating us, basically. Just like we might think, China, AI, you know, you've got communist state, you've got the machine, everything that terrifies us and gets us to the movies.
Yeah, it's a great question, Peter. And I see we did have a couple other questions come in, so I'll try to be brief.
Oh, good.
But you're absolutely, I think, onto something in that there's actually very little about artificial intelligence itself as a technology that really is kind of cause for concern from a security perspective. It is a technology that is very much open source, actually, around the world. And is one that really there are a few reasons, you know, to think really discernibly add to the competitive advantage of nations, except to the extent that, you know, if you don't have any capacity to deploy artificial intelligence, you may be a little bit disadvantaged. But assuming some basic level of technological, you know, capability, there's very little reason to think it's that competitive. Where the concerns do arise are in things like how artificial intelligence changes the way that data are collected, managed, and used. And incidentally, you know, it's a lot harder than people think to actually make sense of data through artificial intelligence. But it's really about the practice and approach to collecting, managing, and analyzing all of that data. And in a related point, how you're developing algorithms to parse that data and train artificial intelligence. And that's really where the importance of values comes in. If, for example, your algorithms are either incorporating or somehow enabling you to track differences that may relate to race or ethnicity, for example, thinking about some of the normative objectives you laid out at the beginning, Peter, for Manchester China Institute, there are very disconcerting implications for human rights and for liberal values. So it's really that kind of application of AI that's concerning rather than the technology itself. But I do think, you know, it's become securitized in the policy discussion, unfortunately.